So your manager just told you. She's expecting you to design 100 different types of monitors. You're confused and you don't know what to do. And she wants you to represent it using programming. Confused and outraged, you searched up how to create a class and you came across my video. Don't worry, I'm going to teach you how to represent objects in Java. So Java is an object-oriented type programming system, and it allows you to represent different objects using classes. So let me help you. So to represent an object, you first have to create a class for it. So let's do class monitor in your case. So now we have the monitor. Basically, to represent data, you first have to see what types of data the monitor holds. The monitor can be big, it can be small, it can be HD, it can be 4K, it could be 14, it could be 480p. Whatever you think whatever your boss wants you to do. So you have to create the data for different types of monitors. So we'll name this monitor, just monitor, but remember, classes always have to be capital. So the data you want to represent can be, it has to be an object, and it has to be the different parts of the monitor, in your case, the monitor, okay? So the monitor has to have, let's say, it has to be 27 inches. You want to create a 27-inch monitor. You want it to be 1440p. Do you want it to be IPS or TN? IPS it is. How much do you want it to be? 350. Okay. How? Let's see. What else can there be about a monitor? Aspect ratio. You want it to be 16:10. Is there anything else? No. You think that's enough? Okay, that's enough then. So we have all of the basic data that you want. So let's represent it using different data types. So 27 is a string. No, 27 is an int. Sorry. 27 is an int. 1440p, it has a p at the end, meaning it's a string. IPS, it's a combination of characters, that's a string. 350, that's an int. 1610, although it's 16 and a 10, there's a column in the middle, so we'll consider it to be a string. So you have 2 ints and 3 strings. Now, what do you want to name this? So what is this? What does the 27 represent? It represents the number of inches. What about this? We'll name it resolution. What about IPS? What does IPS represent? I don't know either. I'll just write type panel. But I know what it represents, just I don't know what the name of it's called. 350, that's called cost. String 1610, that guy identifies to be an aspect ratio. So we have all of this data and we have to represent it using code. So let's do it this way. We name it private int inch. Okay? Private. I'm naming it private because a lot of coding courses, especially the ones I took, you are required to represent all of your data privately. So that's what I'm doing. Oopsie. Okay, int cost. We're almost there. Private. Is there anything else? Okay, string aspect ratio. Okay, we have all of this data. Okay? To represent this data, we have to use it using a constructor. We have to represent it using a constructor. So to create a constructor, constructors are usually public, so we have to write public. Let me add a few spaces to make it more readable. Readability is extremely important when you're coding. Public monitor, we're naming it the class name. And then here's what's important. You have to write all of this, not the private, ignore the private, but all of that onto this. So we have to write int inch string. I'll explain as we go. So you might be confused to what I'm doing, and that's completely fine. just remember that this is a really simple topic, so don't ever overcomplicate it for yourself. Okay? And the best way to learn how to really understand how to create objects in Java is to just practice. Object-oriented programming is extremely useful, and you just need to learn how to practice. Okay, so we have all of this data and we put it here. You might be asking, what am I doing? Okay, here's what I'm doing. So basically, you want to create a monitor. A monitor is extremely general, and that's true. So you want to have different types of monitors. You want to have a monitor, the one you're creating has to have 27 inches, but your friend Jimmy, who's also helping you, he wants to create one that's 35 inches, right? So you have to have a way to represent all of this different variants of data. There has to be a different way to add, there has to be a different number of inches. Jimmy wants to have a 4K resolution monitor, while you want to have the 1440p. The type panel, he wants to have a TN, which is weird with a 4K, but he still wants it. You want to have an IPS. Cost, he wants it to be $10,000, you want it to be $350. So you have to represent all of this data differently with a constructor. A constructor is used just to make sure that the data you get from here, that you input here, can be properly organized. Okay? So all you need to do is use use this statements, and it's just used to specify that you're getting it from the main class. I mean the main method. Oh, I wrote that wrong. Okay. Look closely. Basically, we have all of this data now, and we've organized it using a constructor. Now, we can try inputting our data through the main class. Let me just make sure I have enough. One. Okay, good. This one has to get deleted. I added one too many. Okay, so we have the this class. Now we have the learn class. I just named it that, and we have to input the data to be organized in the monitor class. So what we have to do is create an object. Okay, to create an object, all we have to do is specify the class monitor. Okay, and then we have to name the monitor. You want it to name, well, in my opinion, most monitors have really crappy and weird names, and it's just really random. So I'm gonna create a really random name. Man, that seems like a really good monitor. They always have to have X. Okay, we're gonna name it that. The Zui. Okay, is equal to new monitor. Okay, we want to create a new object, and we're gonna specify using new monitor. And now we have to input our data here. Okay, that means we have to organize it in. Just time it. Okay, so inch, we want it to be, let's look down here, 27. Okay, resolution, you saw 14. Oh yeah, since, don't forget that for strings you don't have to add quotation marks, but for strings you do. Okay, IPS, right, for type panel. Cost, what was it? $350. Okay, string aspect ratio, it has to be string 1610. Okay, so you have all of this data in monitor Zui. Okay, so now when we run it, we're not outputting anything, so we just have to see if it works. It works. Okay, everything is proper. We have that, we have our data, we have our constructor, and we have this that's just there. Okay, now we want to create another monitor. We want this monitor to be named, I don't know, we'll let the keyboard decide when I smash it. Oh, my bad. Smash monitor. Oh, okay, that's what it wanted. Okay, now we're gonna do Jimmy's monitor. So we're gonna name Jimmy monitor 35 inch, and you want it to be 4K. We'll just do 4K. He wanted to be TN. Jimmy's was an idiot. That's why he got fired. Okay, he wanted it to be $1,000, and he wanted the aspect ratio to be 16. No, he wanted it to be 32. 15. That's a weird aspect ratio, but he wanted it. Okay, so we have these two aspect ratios, and we have our class. Okay, so when we run it, it was able to organize these because these are two different objects. They went to the constructor and it was organized by the code. Okay, I'm gonna delete this since we have already represented it. So now, what if we want to print all of the data? To print the data, we have to do system.outPrint line. You don't even have to print a line. We have to do. We just want to print out the entire object. How do I spell it? Okay. Now we might come across a problem. What is this, you're asking? Well, this is hash code, buddy. And this video isn't about hash code, so I can't explain it. There's just basically, I'll explain what to counter. To counter hash code, all you have to do is create a toString method. A toString method returns data, and it's used to print the object that you're trying to print. So you can do public, and since we're returning a string, it has to be public string toString. Okay. So to do a toString, we have to return. And what is the data that we're trying to return? We want to return the inch. We want to return the resolution. We want to return the type panel. We want to return the cost. We also want to return the aspect ratio, all jumbled up in one. Okay. So when we run this, it's going to print out properly. Now it came out weird because I didn't add any spacing, but see, 27, 1440p, IPS, $350, 16:10 ratio. Now you're like, oh, we have classes, oh, we have this, okay, that's good. But look, here's the best thing about classes, you can also add methods, okay? So we'll name this public void darter. No, we'll name this boss. We'll name it boss. And we'll have an if statement. Basically, this is just simple coding that you learned back then. So we'll have if inch is if cost is greater than $500, 500 system.out.print line, this will never sell. This, I think that's how you write. I think this is a word. This will never sell, you idiot. Okay, we have that. Now we can close this and we can have an else statement. Else keep up the good work or off with your heads. Okay, we'll have that at the end. Okay, let me close this. It's already closed. Okay, now when we run it, basically this I have to specify that I want to run the boss method. So I have to do name the object, because I can't just say, oh, boss. It has to be linked with an object. So when we run it, variable type monitor, public void boss. Okay, you're seeing this problem, and it says it can't find the symbol of type boss, and basically it can't find the symbol because we're already printing stuff from there, and if that print stuff as well, it's not going to print properly. So we have to do, I'm just going to copy this, I don't want to go through the trouble of reading that boss. Okay, and when we run it, keep up the good work or off with your head. Well, it's one person, but see, it's running. Now let's see Jimmy's monitor. Let's see Jimmy get absolutely roasted. This will never sell, idiot. See, that's what it's doing. It's getting the data from there, and since it's basically, even if it's private means you can't access it from other classes, but since it's inside the same class, you can write it like cost and it's going to be accessing it. Now I want to try something. See, the problem that I had before is because I never specified that I wanted to do that, because you always have to specify it's a method, right, with no parameters. And see, you can't print something that's printing something. You can't print inside a print. Okay, so we've done that. We have this. Now here's one of the most important things in all of class creation, and it's called getMethods. getMethods is used to return the data specifically instead of everything through a toString. Okay, sounds confusing at first, but I'll explain it bit by bit. This video is getting long, so I need to hurry and wrap it up. So we can have public. So basically, we're trying to return this data. So if we're returning an inch, right, we have to specify the data type. So public int get inch. And then all we have to do is return inch, because it's in the same class. These get methods are in the same class. Okay? But since I'm writing public, you can access the methods from anywhere. Okay? Now if I wanted to do public, what else is there? String resolution. Return resolution. Okay? Are we going to return the resolution? Is it going to come? Public string. Oh, my bad. I forgot to name it. Public get resolution. Even I still need to practice these. Okay, now I'm running it and it's not printing anything because anything prints from the main class. Now if I was to do Zooey, wait, this sounds like Zooey Mama. If you get that, you're a real one. Get inch. If you get that joke, put in the comments below and I'll heart it. Get inch. Did I name it wrong? Get int. Get int. Return. Blah 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 blah. Oh, not again. Okay, yeah, the method. Oh yeah, I forgot what I'm doing. Okay, basically it's returning the data, right? But I'm not printing the data, so it's not gonna do anything with it. Okay, see, if any of you guys caught that before I did, you guys are real ones. Since I'm returning the data, I have to print the data within the get method. Okay, because it's just returning it. I didn't say print, or else it would have printed. Okay, so when I do that, it's gonna print 27. Okay, now if I wanted to do Jimmy's useless monitor, the hubkjin dot get inch, it's going to return 35. Now finally I'm going to explain set methods. Set methods is used to set the data from inside the main method. So if I wanted to do hubkjin, what is it called, hubkjin, so dot set inch 27. So the boss was so angry that she wanted to change Mr. Jimmy's monitor herself. We'll name it a girl. She went and changed the data herself. So if I run this, it's going to be an error because I haven't yet created the set method. So to create the set method, since we're setting data, we don't want to return anything. We just want to set it inside the class and then return it itself. We need to do, create our set method, public void set inch. Actually, no, we won't name it set inch. She liked the monitor, but she hated the cost. So set cost. We'll name it set cost 1000. So we do set cost. No, set, yeah. Set cost, let me close it. Okay, she wanted to do this dot cost is equal to cost int cost. Okay, so all it's doing is getting the parameter from here, 1000. It's going to return it, and it's just say, oh, the cost here is going to be equal to this one now. Okay, so when we do set cost, she wanted it to be $750, right? Okay, it's gonna run this, it's gonna get the inches, and then it's gonna change that. So when we do system.out.println and we do chicken, now coding is interesting. So if I do get cost, something weird is gonna. Oh, did I not make the thing? Oh, I have to make a get cost method as well. Scheiße. Okay, here's what it's doing. It's gonna get the inch, and then I'm setting the cost, and then it's gonna get the cost. Okay, the cost was originally 1,000, but since I changed it using a set method, it's gonna return that. Now let's see if it's going to look at all the code then do it, or see, it's going to print 1000 because I had it 1,000, but then I run the set cost method and it's going to go, oh, what's the cost now? I passed the parameter 1000, so the parameter up here will now equal 1000. So when I print it, then that time it's going to print 1000. So that's all the methods. There's also inheritance and stuff, but I'll be explaining those in later videos. So this is all you really need to know, and I hope that you can make that monitor properly. And also get Jimmy to work harder. Okay, thank you guys. See you next time.